My name is Ethan, I'm 28, and for as long as I can remember, I've been the unseen shadow in my family. The one who doesn't get the group text, the one cropped out of photos, the one remembered only when a ride or a favor is needed, but never when it truly counts. I grew up under the weight of my mother's cutting words and convenient forgetfulness. She could recite every misstep I ever made, but somehow, my achievements, my quiet acts of kindness, or the birthday gifts I scraped together never stuck in her memory. My sister Lily figured out early that perfection was the key to adoration. She smiled, charmed, excelled in school, and was treated like a princess. I was the opposite, reserved, questioning, too honest for my own good. That didn't mesh with our family's unspoken rules, where pleasantries were power and truth was an inconvenience. For years, I tried to carve out a space for myself. I brought desserts to gatherings I wasn't invited to, gifts to celebrations where my arrival went unnoticed, and kind words to relatives who mispronounced my name. At first, I believed effort would earn me a place. But by 25, the fog cleared. No amount of trying would shift their view of me. My seat at the table was never meant to be secure. Still, there's a lingering pain that logic can't fully erase. Last Thanksgiving, I wavered about showing up. My cousin Nora, 2 years younger but wiser than most of the adults in our family, was the only one who treated me like I mattered. We'd grown close through texts, late-night calls, and real conversations. When she messaged me the day before saying, "You'd better come," "I've got your back," I gave in. For her, it felt worth it. I drove 40 minutes to my uncle's house, the usual spot for Thanksgiving. Picture-perfect suburbia, neat lawn, a gaudy inflatable pilgrim out front, and the familiar aroma of butter, herbs, and underlying strain drifting from the windows. I parked 3 houses down, as always, since the driveway was packed by the time I arrived. Clutching a bottle of wine I knew would go untouched, I approached the front door and glimpsed them through the screen. My mom, my aunt, my sister, my uncle, laughing, chatting, posing like they were auditioning for a dysfunctional family sitcom. I didn't expect a warm welcome or even a nod. But what happened next wasn't just distant, it was intentional. As I reached for the door, it creaked open slightly, and there was my uncle, Tom, blocking the way like a human barricade. No greeting, no smile. Just a smug curl of his lip as he said, "You're not part of this family anymore, Ethan, you need to go." I thought it was a bad joke at first. I even chuckled, waiting for the twist, but he didn't budge. Behind him, I saw my mom pass 2 plates across the table, one with a name card I knew well. Mine. She handed it, laughing, to Lily's boyfriend, a guy I'd barely met. They toasted. My chair, my place, was taken before I even stepped inside. "I'm serious," Uncle Tom said. "Your presence just stirs up trouble." I blinked. "Stirs up trouble," I echoed. "I haven't even walked in." He gave a fake, pitying shrug. "Let's not make this harder than it has to be. Go home." I glanced past him, meeting my mom's eyes. She didn't waver, didn't intervene. She just raised her glass and sipped, like she was observing a mildly curious scene. For a split second, I considered pushing back, yelling, causing a commotion. But I didn't. Instead, I did something that surprised even me. I nodded, calm and quiet, stepped back and walked away, wine bottle still in hand. I drove 2 blocks, pulled over, and sat there. My hands trembled, not with anger, but with something sharper, more final. In that moment, I saw it clearly. I wasn't family to them. I was a prop, a punchline when they needed someone to blame, a spare seat when they needed to fill a gap. But I had something they didn't expect. For months, I'd been preparing to let go. Nora and I had talked about it often, late-night calls, shared frustrations about being sidelined, ignored, dismissed. She wasn't as outspoken, but she saw it too. The double standards, the favoritism, the quiet cruelty beneath every family event. She'd once said, "All it takes is one match to burn down their facade." So I opened my phone, pulled up the message I'd drafted over weeks, and hit send. It wasn't a tirade or a plea for sympathy. It was the truth, plain and unfiltered, sent to a select few in that house. 5 minutes later, parked at the corner with my engine humming, I watched through my rearview mirror. The front door swung open. First came Nora, storming out, her face flushed with fury. Then my cousin Sam, followed by his partner, then my aunt's close friend, the one who always brought pie and had a soft spot for me. One by one they left. I couldn't hear the shouting inside, but I could imagine it. The facade was splintering, and that was just the start. Nora called first. My phone lit up before I even left the street. "Ethan," she said, her voice sharp. "What did you just do?" I paused. "You saw it." "Of course I saw it," she snapped. "So did everyone." Uncle Tom's face was practically maroon. "Your mom tried to act clueless, and Lily just stood there like she forgot how to blink." I could hear her pacing, the wind crackling through her phone. She went quiet, then said, "Why didn't you tell me you were recording them?" Here's the thing. Months earlier, tired of being belittled, gaslit, and lied about, I'd started keeping evidence. Not out of spite, but for my own sanity. I recorded conversations, saved messages, took screenshots. I had a video of my mom telling Lily to take credit for something I'd done. A voice note of Uncle Tom saying I only came to family events to mooch, even though I never asked for a dime. And the worst, an audio from my birthday last year when they forgot I existed, even though I was sitting right there. The Thanksgiving message wasn't just words. It was a 5-minute compilation of their greatest hits, complete with timestamps and pauses to let the truth land. I sent it to 7 people. Nora, Sam, my Aunt Clara, my cousin's fiancé, my mom's sister who was always neutral, and 2 family friends who'd bought into the polished version of our family for years. "I didn't tell you because I didn't want you stuck in the crossfire," I said. Nora laughed, bitter but relieved. "I'm already in it, but I'm glad you did it." I exhaled, my grip on the steering wheel easing. "You okay?" "I will be," she said. "I'm done with them." Click. I sat in the quiet of my car, watching more people leave the house through my mirror. A few lingered on the porch looking lost. My mom's voice cut through, loud but unclear. I didn't need to hear the words. I'd heard variations of them my whole life. Then Aunt Clara called. "Ethan," she said, breathless. "Where are you?" "Down the street," I admitted, debating whether to lie. "Stay there." "I'm coming." 5 minutes later, she slid into my passenger seat, her eyes wide, like she'd just walked into a mess she hadn't anticipated. "I listened to it all," she said. "Twice." I stayed silent. I didn't realize it was that bad. I knew they could be harsh, but I didn't see how deliberate it was. I turned to her. "You really didn't know?" She flinched. "I saw bits and pieces. Your mom always made it sound like you were the issue, overly sensitive, twisting things. I didn't think she'd lie." "She didn't lie," I said softly. "She edited." Clara stared at the dashboard. "This is going to tear everyone apart." "Maybe it was already broken," I replied. That night my phone blew up with messages, some furious, some apologetic, some confused. But the silence from my mom, Lily, and Uncle Tom was louder than anything else. Not a single word from them. Until the next morning when my mom posted on Facebook, a long, dramatic post about betrayal, misunderstandings, and private matters being aired for attention. She didn't name me, but the comments made it clear who the villain was. People offered her sympathy, called me ungrateful, said things like, "You raised him better than that." But then something shifted. Nora commented, so did Sam. Then Aunt Clara. They called out the lies, the favoritism, shared their own stories of being dismissed or manipulated. The thread grew chaotic. Some relatives deleted their comments, others blocked me. But the narrative was changing. For once, I wasn't alone. Lily's boyfriend sent a message request. "I didn't know they were like that. I'm sorry. I wouldn't have taken your seat if I'd known what was going on." I didn't reply. I didn't need to. The truth was already out. The Sunday after Thanksgiving, I got an unexpected visitor. I live in a small apartment above a bakery that fills the air with the scent of fresh bread every morning. It's simple, peaceful, nothing like the chaotic house I grew up in, where every argument felt like a storm. I wasn't expecting anyone. Friends had already reached out after the video, some supportive, some stunned. Nora had been checking in daily. But when I opened the door, there was my dad. We hadn't spoken in nearly a year. He looked worn, more gray in his hair, his old jacket a bit more frayed. He didn't smile, just stood there, hands in his pockets, shifting his weight. "Hey," he said finally. "Didn't expect you," I replied, stepping aside but not exactly inviting him in. He hesitated, then entered, glancing around my place. Tidy, quiet, filled with things that mattered to me. A small record collection, books I actually read, a photo of Nora and me from the one Thanksgiving we ditched for pizza. "I saw the clips," he said. "Your aunt sent them." I waited. He sat on the edge of my couch, staring at the floor. "Your mom's been spiraling, says you set her up, twisted everything." "Did I?" I asked. He rubbed his temples like he was trying to push the weight of it all away. "I don't know, Ethan. I knew things were rough between you, but hearing it like that, it was tough." I crossed my arms. "Tough for who?" "For me," he said, meeting my eyes. "Because it showed me I let it happen. For years, that hit differently, the first time my dad had ever said something that felt like accountability instead of avoidance. I didn't speak. I wasn't ready to." He shifted. "You remember when you were 14 and your mom threw out your sketchbook?" I nodded. I'd spent months on those drawings, only for her to toss them because I got a B in math. "She said you'd drawn something offensive." "It was a caricature of her scolding me," I said. "That's all." He gave a faint, bitter laugh. I bought her story, never even checked. That was the pattern, I said, my voice steady. She'd say something, you'd agree, Lily would play along, and I'd be left wondering if I was crazy or just worthless. He didn't argue, just nodded, letting the silence grow. I can't undo the past, he said eventually. But I see it now. I wish I'd spoken up sooner. I believed he meant it, but his regret didn't erase years of standing by. He wasn't cruel, but his silence had cut just as deep. I hear you, I said. But I don't know what you're asking for, he exhaled. I don't either. I just wanted to see how you're holding up. I'm better, I said honestly. Now that I'm done pretending they'll change. He nodded. They're circling the wagons. Thinking it'll blow over. I raised an eyebrow. Will it? He looked weary. Some are already moving on, some are too scared to take sides, but a few, they're livid, especially about the money. Right, the money. I hadn't told anyone outside the message. But for years, I'd been quietly helping family members financially. Rent, car fixes, even a loan to Lily when she claimed she needed to escape a toxic relationship. I never asked for repayment, hoping it might earn me a place. I stopped 3 months ago, redirecting my support to Nora and friends who valued me. The video ended with a note. This is why I stopped funding your lives. That hit harder than the recordings. They're saying you're punishing them, my dad said. They punish themselves, I replied. I just stopped enabling it. He didn't argue. Eventually, he stood. I should go. But if there's ever a way back for us, I hope you'll let me try. Then he left. I didn't cry or rage. I just stood there, wondering how long it would take for the next ripple. Because I knew my mom wouldn't let go of control easily, and Lily hated being exposed. Christmas was coming, and if they thought they could act like nothing had changed, they were in for a surprise. I wasn't done. By December, the family group chat for Christmas plans was eerily quiet. Usually buzzing with potluck lists and forwarded jokes, it had one last message from Nora. Let me know when you're ready to own up. No replies, no reactions. Just silence pretending to be calm. I wasn't invited, but I didn't care. For the first time, I didn't feel like I was missing out. I didn't need to grit my teeth through another dinner where Lily's job was praised like a Pulitzer win while mine was ignored. I was free from their expectations, their jabs, their weight. But I wasn't finished. The Thanksgiving video had cracked their image, sparked conversations they couldn't dodge. Yet they were hiding, waiting for the storm to pass. So I made sure it didn't. I started with the money. I sent Lily a legal letter about the $3,000 loan, noting that her claim of needing to escape an abusive partner was a lie. She was still with the guy, sitting in my chair at Thanksgiving. I gave her 60 days to repay, no threats, just documentation. I stopped the annual transfer for Uncle Tom's property taxes, which I'd covered for years after he hinted at hard times. This year his bank got a declined payment notice. And my mom's car lease, which I'd paid for 5 years without a thank you. I repossessed the car, still in my name. On December 10th, the calls flooded in, Lily screaming, Tom reasoning, my mom cold and cutting. So this is who you are? No, I said. This is who you turned me into. Click. Christmas Eve was different. I spent it with Nora and a few friends, cooking together, lighting candles, playing games, exchanging gifts that didn't need to prove anything. It was the warmest holiday I'd had in years. Around midnight, Nora poured us wine and sat beside me, sharing a blanket. They called me, she said. Damage control? I guessed. She nodded. Your mom said I was picking sides, ruining the family. You are, I said. The part that needed to go. She rested her head on my shoulder. She also said she's going to clear her name. I sighed. Of course she is. Christmas morning, I saw her move. A long Facebook post about family struggles, private pain going public, and some members being swayed by lies. It was her classic deflection, vague enough to pull sympathy from those who only knew her curated self. I didn't comment. I didn't need to. The truth was spreading. Aunt Clara posted, you can't fix a broken family by pretending it's whole. Proud of you, Ethan. Sam shared a screenshot of a text from my mom badmouthing me after I helped him with tuition. His caption, we all saw it. We just didn't want to admit it. More people, cousins, old friends, even Lily's old roommate, started sharing their own stories, their own wounds. The pressure was building. A week later, I got a handwritten letter from my mom. Not an apology, but a threat. She said I was ruining the family's name, making enemies I couldn't handle, that there'd be consequences for humiliating them. It was the final gasp of someone losing control. I folded it and tossed it in the trash. I didn't need to fight her anymore. The truth was doing that for me. By New Year's Eve, the family had fractured. Some clung to the old narrative, defending my mom, calling the recordings out of context. Others woke up, organizing their own gatherings. Nora hosted a January brunch for 20 people we trusted. Uncle Tom, Lily, and my mom weren't there. I grieved, not for the family I never had, but for the version of me that kept chasing their approval. I let that Ethan go, buried with the guilt and the need to please. Now I'm living. I'm writing again, something I hadn't done since high school. I started a small freelance gig. Nora and I are tighter than ever. Every now and then someone reaches out, someone who saw the truth, who recognized their own story in mine, who says, "Thank you for speaking up." I felt this too. So if you're reading this and you know what it's like to be mocked, used, or called only when you're needed, hear me. You don't have to stay in a house that doesn't feel like home. You don't owe your silence to keep a peace they never offered. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is walk away from the door they shut in your face and never turn back. I didn't lose a family, I shed one. And in the stillness that followed, I found my own voice again. Clear, unafraid, free.